Hello and welcome to the first Her Version Impact panel of 2022. We are opening this year with a bang in the female community, speaking about everything motherhood. This will be a great broadcast for you to listen in on if you are an expecting mother, a new mother, if you have 6 little ones running around the house, and everything in between. If you are a dad, we would love your support also. We have women from all walks of life opening up about the smiles, the challenges, the laughter, and the realism of what motherhood is. I am super excited about this impact panel. Let's jump right in. Hello and welcome to today's episode of Her Version. This podcast is dedicated to sharing stories of struggle to triumph, a platform that allows individuals to tell their truth in order to inspire and uplift others. For those of you that are new to this podcast and like content like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button and follow, like, and share. I am your host, Sabrina Victoria. This will be an interactive forum, and any comments or questions you post will possibly be selected to go on screen for the ladies to engage with you personally. Come with questions, worries, difficulties, and we will help you navigate through it. If you are watching this live or on the hashtag replay, we would appreciate if you share this to your followers so we can expand our reach. Now, the first thing I want to do is I want to introduce our ladies. So we have several women here from all walks of life, and I would like each of you to introduce your name and where you are from, starting with Nicole.
Hello, everyone. I am Nicole Gayatri. I am from Costa Rica.
Hi, guys. I am Maureen Scanlon, and I am from Mesa, Arizona.
Hi, everyone. My name is Rachel Ulster, and I am from sunny South Florida.
Good morning. My name is Erica Hall. I am a mother of 6. I've been doing it for 25 years, and I am in Ohio.
Hi, everybody. My name is Tori Brame, and I am a mother of a 3.5-year-old. He's my only kid, and I am in Charleston, South Carolina.
Is that everybody? Charmin, did you go? Sophia?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Sophia. I think I have an echo.
You do have an echo. Where are you from, Sophia?
I'm living here in New York City. I'm a hashtag boy mom.
Yes. Charmin? We can't hear you.
I'm Sherman Johnson, mother of 5, and from Bucks County, Pennsylvania.
Yes. All right, ladies. Well, thank you so much for joining me this early on a Saturday. I do hear a little bit of reverb, so if you have headphones, you might want to put them in because it might be you.
So I'm Christine Del Negro. I am an EFT practitioner and a life coach, and I work with women to help them create more joy in their lives. And one of the things that kind of connected for me, Sabrina, when you were talking, first of all, I can't even imagine. I think that must have been just so incredibly hard. But I do think that motherhood is really lonely. And I think that we don't talk about that either. Like when I was a stay-at-home mom for several years, and I had mom friends and my kids, we did play groups and all of that. But I felt like there was this, the town that I lived in at the time was a fairly affluent town, kind of like, appearances were kind of a big thing. And so I never felt like I truly connected with the other moms in that I could really talk about like the fears and the anxieties. I mean, a little bit, but not so much. And so I think that is a really like important thing to know if you're going into motherhood, that it can be really lonely and isolating, especially if, well, my experience is as a stay-at-home mom. I think if you are a working mom and you're in an environment where you know, either it's a male dominated environment or other people don't have young children at home, it's isolating in that way because people can't relate and you're feeling all of this pressure. So, but I think it's really important to find connection somewhere, even if it's, sometimes I think like online or in, you know, some other group where it's not people. Sometimes I think when you're trying to connect locally with people, there is that idea of like keeping up appearances. And so if you're talking to somebody, you know, 3,000 miles away who you're not going to meet in person or not anytime soon, it's easier to kind of connect and say, wow, this is so hard. And I feel like my life is, you know, in free fall right now and I don't know what to do. So I just think that that's a really important thing for mothers to keep in mind, that you want to find connection wherever you can. And then the other thing is when you have your second child, or, you know, what I have 2 daughters, and I like rationally knew that there were going to be adjustment issues, but I did not expect the level of anger from my older child, who was an incredible older sibling, like completely attentive and loving. But I was also dealing with these incredible temper tantrums, the likes of which I had never seen before. And so then I thought, oh my God, I'm doing something wrong. You know, there's a problem. And, you know, I spoke to a therapist who's like, nope, pretty much normal. But I just did not expect that level of rage, and no one had prepared, you know, for as much as they talk about it, I didn't expect it in the way that I saw it. So that's just something else I want to say to moms who are having a second child. It's not, you know, it's not unusual to really experience, like see a real shift in your child that you might not have expected.
Thank you so much for sharing, Christine. Maureen, go ahead.
I think I'm probably the one with the oldest children here. So I have older children and grandchildren. And, you know, Sabrina and I have a very similar story with motherhood. And I was also sort of disowned. I got married at 18 and had my first at 19. And one thing that I don't hear, and if you don't have a close relationship with your mother who walked you through motherhood or what to expect, is that no one tells us to trust ourselves. And that is the biggest thing for me, was just walking through motherhood and going, you've got this. Trust that your instincts are going to kick in. Trust that you are, like you said, love is always the answer. If you love this child, you're going to make mistakes. We don't have to be perfect, but it was always, whether I was with the kid's dad or after our divorce, and I was also a single parent, it was just being able to say to myself, you know what, you've got this, and we're just going to take this day by day and just trust that, you know what, they're alive. Okay. They're going to bump their heads. They're going to get sick, you know, but trust that you can do this. You can absolutely do this. I think, you know, really instilling into new moms, just trust your instincts. You don't have to be perfect. You're going to figure it out. You're going to make mistakes, but you're going to figure it out, and you just get better as they go. And trust me, bigger kids, bigger problems. I have a 30, 31, 29, and 23-year-old, and I'm still struggling. And I'll get to, now I'm actually doing grandchildren and have taken in a grandson. So that'll be one of my questions moving forward. But it never goes away. You're always figuring it out as you go. But just trust yourself. You've got this. You've got this.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing, Maureen. That was great. Nicole, thank you so much for taking the floor there and hosting. I would like to give the floor to Christine. Introduce yourself. Tell us what you do. Well, you already kind of did, but and then let us know your question.
Okay. Hi, I'm Christine, and I've joined a little late. I had some technical issues this morning, but I'm really happy to be here. So the question that I've been mulling over is sort of related to what Maureen was talking about in terms of like the pressure that we all put on ourselves as mothers, and the pressure that society puts on us as mothers. There's this like paradigm of the perfect mother, and I think like a big piece of that is I get frustrated with this idea. It's like mother is martyr, that like if you're going to be a good mother, you've got to basically like give your blood, sweat, and tears to your children 24/7. And I think like one of the things that I noticed around the holidays was I kept seeing these posts on social media about the exhausted mom up till 3 a.m. wrapping gifts and, doing all of these things while her husband, and it was, so there's also this like resentment towards men, which is another part of it, but we don't need to get into that. But like while her husband is sleeping and, all of this, like, and there's like, you could feel the resentment coming through in the post. But yet these mothers felt compelled that this was what they needed to do to be there for their children. And so that's something that I'm a single mom as well. And so I think like boundaries are something that I have always had trouble with, but I've had to learn as a single parent how to really set them. And, I certainly struggle with the guilt sometimes, like, and my children are teenagers, so they're not toddlers, where I have to say to them, like, I need you to take this on because I can't right now. Like I'm working, whatever. I need the dishes cleared from the sink or the dog walked or whatever. And I still feel guilty about it. Even though I rationally know that's absolutely ridiculous. But so I think that's the question is like, how do you see the role of mother? Like, do you struggle with that? Like, do you feel like you have to give it all? And then, then what are we modeling for our children, whether sons or daughters? Like, is that what we want for them? So it's kind of a messy question, but Nicole.
I think it's such a great question, Christine. As I mentioned, I go by the Abundance Genie, helping people to live this abundant, beautiful, fuck yes life. And it's one of the things I work with my clients the most is like, what do you really want and need? And how do you really need to be supported in your life? Whether you're a mom or not, but it's so important for mothers to write that list down and be like, you know what? I have a hard time getting to the dishes every day and I feel really guilty about it. And like, every day that I try to go to bed, I feel like I have to clean in the whole house and get everything done. And it's like, we don't need to do that. We don't really need to do that. So I think as a society or as mothers, even, we need to kind of step up and maybe use social media or our own voices with our own communities more to stop putting that pressure on one another. Like, I feel like every time I go to someone's house before I walk in, the woman is like, please excuse the mess. And it's like, we shouldn't have to say that to one another. Mm-hmm. We have people who live in our house, and the second that we clean things, they make it a disaster once again. We all know this, right? Like, it's going to happen. So let's stop putting that pressure on ourselves, number one. And as a society, let's stop putting that pressure on each other. And really, like, just what do I need help with? And I, from my child, when he was like 2, I had him doing some chores already. What is he capable of doing? And of course, you need to figure out which ones are age appropriate and what they're actually capable of doing. But even when it comes to cleaning up his own toys, he knows that when he finishes playing with something, he needs to put it away. But we make that a game. Were we playing with dinosaurs? Great. Now they need to stomp their way back home, whatever it might be. But I have to, again, as a single mom, I have to have him help me as much as possible. And I think that gives him a sense of responsibility as well. And for families to do that, if you do have a partner, sit down with them and say, like, great, you work all day or you do this or whatever, but here's the list of things that need to get done in the house. Now we need to delegate that out to people. And if we don't have people to delegate that to, can we financially afford to bring someone in who can do that so that we can all feel supported? Because I'm huge on spending my money wisely so that I can have a mentally abundant life. Feeling mentally and emotionally supported is huge. And so that's worth every dime of the cleaning lady who comes twice a week to help me with my house, right? Because otherwise it's not getting done.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And Glennon Doyle has a quote, which is make the invisible visible. And you can use it in relation to a lot of different things, but there was a podcast that I listened to where she was talking about like sitting down with your family and saying like, these are the things that I think need to get done that I do. And, like, how are we going to divvy it up? And what can we let go? Like, does it really matter if you have, if your furniture is dusty for a couple of days, like, who cares? Right. But like this, letting go of that idea that we have to be perfect all the time. And I think you're right. Like it's definitely, I think it is exacerbated by motherhood, but it's certainly something that's put on women just as a, a gender in our society, that women are responsible for all of this stuff. And we need to let that go. Erica.
So, good morning. So one of the things that I've utilized my time talking to women about is establishing a better over perfect mindset. And when you get to that point, and there's ways to do it, steps to do it, but when you get to that point, then you're really only comparing to yourself. It's like, okay, this is my baseline. So you have your bare bones, and what can I do just a little bit better? Okay, I can do this. And where it starts is evaluating expectations. Most of the things that we've all talked about, and Christine, that you even brought up about the posts that people are doing, is because they have either learned an expectation or it's an intrinsic expectation that they've put on themselves because it came from somewhere. They do exist, right? Each of our expectations come from a different source, but really evaluating, what type of mom do I want to be? What are my expectations? What type of home do I want? What are my expectations? Relationships. What do I want from other people? And really setting that list and going, okay, is this manageable? And if it's not manageable, you better start removing some of your expectations, because you're the one creating this infamous, this has to be done and it has to be done a certain way. You are the only person doing that. Nobody else is going this, no, as much as you are, right? So especially in our heads, as we're taking on, and it was either a choice given to us or a choice that we had to make. We became mothers, right? And so we have other humans to take care of. Well, what do we want them to learn? Well, life responsibilities. Dishes always exist if you plan on eating. So you better suck it up and figure out how to get your house at least halfway decent, or you're going to get sick. Like, these are things that will make you ill if you don't do them. These other things, who knows? But, you should do it every once in a while, right? Like, really giving them a baseline. So at least when all hell breaks loose in our lives or in their lives as they're growing up, they know where their bare bones is. Okay, if I just get these things done, we're managing. And that's important. Where's your manageability level, right? And then once you have those, you have very clear vocations in your life, because we are multivocational women. Every woman is, every person is, but we're going to talk about women because we have more vocations, way more vocations than men. It's documented, right? Just is. So then you set those expectations and those vocations, and now you can say, okay, what am I managing well? I'm not going to mess with those. So I clean my house and I'm okay with it every once in a while. I'm not going to worry about it, because right now I'm really putting my efforts into being an outstanding mom, or my efforts into promoting my career, or this, or I really need to work on a relationship. Not everything has to be at this point that you're working on, because you've worked on getting them to a manageable level. You're like, I'm not messing with this. This is what my home looks like. This is how it runs. You don't like it. I'm managing this home. Go find a different one. Like, it's really that attitude, even for yourself. This is my home. This is what I'm managing, right? So those are some of the suggestions that I implement, and I help other women implement in their lives. So
I love that. And I think so much of what you're talking about is like self-love and self-acceptance, which is the thing that I always start with my clients, is if we have to love and accept ourselves right where we are. Okay, so my house is a mess. It doesn't mean I'm a terrible person. It means this is something that I want to work on and I want to change, and I need to figure out what is going to work for me and what my expectations are. So I everything you said just completely resonates. And I love this idea of your sort of baseline that you have, so that okay, I'm here, and maybe I'd like to get here, but like I'm good where I am right now for now, and I can choose the area that I'm going to focus on.
Yeah, so you set your bare bones. Those are your bare bones. Your baseline is your bare bones. And then anything you're doing to improve those bare bones is your better bare bones. And you're doing one thing to better it. And it's really cool to listen, because then how easy is that to say? That's my bare bones. That's about all I can do right now. Right? And so give you that terminology to remind yourself, because in that self-love and what you do with women, we need memories that we put on our mind, which is retained to memory. another phrase I use in what we teach is to retain to memory so you can recall it any point in time. And that helps develop that self-love, because you're like, I have systems that I can put into place. I have methods and things that I can tell myself and say, I'm managing. It's the best I can do. When somebody asks me how I'm doing, like Tori, I have autoimmune illnesses, but I have a genetic illness that is crippling my body, but I still want to function in life. And so people will ask me, how are you doing? I'm managing. That's the best I can tell you. Not okay. I'm not fine. I'm not good. I'm not great. I'm not wonderful. I'm managing. And it gives me a sense of, I'm managing. That's a good thing, right? I'm managing. It doesn't sound bad. I've got this, right? It's the same attitude that Sabrina, you said to us, you got this. You know, when push comes to shove, you're made to do what you are doing, and you've got this. So it really is. It really helps us. All these things that we're saying. You guys are wonderful women. I just have to say.
Oh, Maureen and then Rachel.
I'll make it quick, Rachel, since I've already spoken. But I have the advantage of the hindsight is 2020 because they are adults, my children. And I would just want to say this. Who's judging your house? Who's judging your parenting? You are. You're harder on yourself than anybody else is. And as my children now are adults and they give me feedback about their childhood, because I was in sort of a chaotic marriage and it was domestic violence and abuse, the only thing I could control was my environment. So I was very OCD. And as my children have, given me feedback as adults, what I realized is don't sweat the small stuff. It's all small stuff. What they remembered was the time I spent with them. They didn't remember a big trip to Disneyland. They remembered going to the park with mom after dinner and feeding the ducks. They remembered me sitting down and playing Barbies. It's, you're judging yourself harder than anybody else is going to judge you. So have some ease and mercy on yourself and just know that when they're older, they're going to come back and just say, I just remember the time you spent with me. I just remember that you guided me in the best way. You gave me morals, you gave me values, and I'm a great caring human. The rest of it, dirty dishes, dirty rooms, purple hair, teenage crushes, trust me, none of it matters. And later on, you're going to be very, very proud of yourself that, yeah, I did the best that I could, and they're good humans. And so, yay me. Pat myself on the back. Rachel.
Oh, you're muted. You gotta unmute.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Sorry. Hi, everyone. Rachel here. And I'm just absorbing every single thing you guys are saying. And Sabrina gave us a group where I feel like we're all aligned. And what I was feeling from gathering everything, I really resonated with you, Erica, is for me, when I'm thinking about all these situations of what I should be doing versus what I'm doing and how it's going to look to the outer world, and then the resentments come up. So for me, I keep in check the responsibility over resentments, because if I'm feeling a certain way, it's nobody else's problem. I'm creating it inside of me. So if someone's critiquing my house or the way I look or the way I raise my child, or I'm getting a resentment at my husband because he refuses to load the dishwasher, who's creating that feeling? I am. And so the only one that's going to be able to find peace is me. And so I have a choice. I can either walk in and drag whoever it is, I'm single, but if I did have that guy over there, I would grab him and say, it's your turn to do the dishwasher, or I would just do it because it's the path of least resistance. And so for me, the art of allowing has turned me from being that woman that has to be perfection and gets really upset when things don't go my way, to complete acceptance and trying to really live in this moment, because truly it's all we have. One moment I'm 26 years old cooking dinner and my mom dies in a car crash. In that instant, my whole life changed. What if I had had a resentment against her? She was my best friend, right? I would still be regretting that today. So how we're feeling now is not only going to keep us calm and peaceful and loving and joyful, but it's also going to bring us into our future that we haven't experienced yet. And so I agree with everyone that, you know, I've got a house that's for sale. I have to get out of it. I just stopped a job and my car lease is over, and the house is a wreck because everything's getting moved. And I have a 12-year-old that I share custody with. And the two of us are just so freaking chill because it always works out okay. All of that stuff is going to work out fine. And I went real estate. It's just horrible. Everything's 10 times more expensive than where I am now. I have no idea how it's going to happen, but I know 1,000% it's going to be, I forget which one said it. I don't know if it was you, Nicole, or Tori maybe, but everything that we've gone through is bringing us to the next level. And my life at 55 has shown me time and time and time again that my worst moments have brought me far higher. And the way to do that is we have to feel the feels. We have to sit in our shit and just sit in it and cry and say, I'm so resentful of that. And this isn't going well. And my future is looking dreary right now. And just cry it out and crumple. And then we get back up and it's gone. And then we're ready for another day. So thank you.
I love that. Thank you so much, Rachel. I can resonate with so much of that.